The mainstream drive-by media is trying to slime Star Wars fans yet again, this time with a claim that trolls are bamboozled by Rotten Tomatoes. There's only one problem, folks. We're here to tell you that this backfire looks like it might just be a false flag smear campaign. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we continue to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve. And folks, we're going to be getting into a bit of subjectivity here because we have to speculate a bit. But at the end of this, we'll let you decide whether or not you think that this new effort to despise and revile the Star Wars community is a false flag campaign intentionally done, or whether or not you think that, well, we're just off our rockers. We leave it up to you to make that determination. As we dive into today's video, folks, make sure to click the like button, and let's all dive behind the curtain and see how things might just work in the world of creating a narrative to destroy a fandom already in apathy. And it turns out, Jonas, that it's not just corporations that cannot create cool stuff. Apparently, it's the news journalists out there. Folks, we've caught them. Jonas, you ready for a crazy story?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think I might know where this might be going.
Yes, well, and folks, more than 800 of you here. We should have Chris Gore and the other panelists joining us in about 10 minutes. But I wanted to hit this with Jonas specifically by ourselves first because it's so freaking funny. This is hilarious. This is the worst I have ever seen, and I've seen a lot. Are we ready? Let's dive into this. Here we go. All right, here's what it says, and then we're going to show you why we think that this is a false flag. Now, folks, I can say I think, and I'm going to say it because I don't know definitively, but I'm going to lay out the evidence, and you see what you think. The article is out of The Independent, which is no small, media company. This is not a small news organization. It's The Independent. The Acolyte becomes lowest rated Star Wars project after review bombing. So they're just definitively saying now that if you don't like Star Wars The Acolyte, you're review bombing. It's not, you don't have an actual opinion. You're a review bomber.
This is my question here. Are they trying to say that it's fake reviews, or are they trying to say that people are more inclined to review it and therefore it's legitimate reviews from people who hate the show for one reason or another? Or are they trying to say it's bot activity?
Oh, get ready. It says, however, plan is backfiring for some confused trolls. This is by Claudia Cox. Folks, hang on to that. Nobody forget this. The plan is allegedly backfiring for confused trolls. So the entire framing of this is that A, if you don't like The Acolyte, you're review bombing. 2, if you don't like The Acolyte, you are in a group of people you don't want to be associated with. And 3, that group of people is so stupid that they're confused and their plan is backfiring. Everybody hang tight. This is you're going to see in just a moment, this is the stupidest, weakest, and most hilarious attack on the fans you've ever seen. The Acolyte has the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score of any show or film in the Star Wars franchise after receiving a slew of negative reviews by trolls. Yeah, there's a trolls. The new series currently has a 14% audience score. Sorry, reading it as a troll. An even lower rating than the critically panned Star Wars The Clone Wars, yada, 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 yada. We all know this. Okay, let's move on. The Acolyte, yada, yada, yada. We all know this. However, some trolls, some stinky, smelly, stupid trolls appear to have gotten confused. Got confused? No, it's gotten, oh, elitist, confused about which show to target. A similarly named but entirely unrelated 2008 horror film called Acolytes has also been bombarded with negative reviews. The film's audience score has suddenly dropped from 42% to 33%. This is not the first time that fans have been mobilized to leave negative reviews for a franchise installment with more progressive content. Goes on to defend Doctor Who, the indefensible. Now, hold on a second, though.
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on a second, folks. I want to show you, and I'm gonna let you decide. I think this is a false flag. Out of the freaking Independent. Let's read it again. However, some trolls appear to have got confused about which show to target. A similarly named but entirely unrelated 2008 horror film called The Acolytes has also been bombarded with negative reviews. The film's audience score has suddenly dropped from 42% to 32%. Now, because it's The Independent, people are going to cite this as authoritative. So I want to point out again, okay, remember our original points? If you don't like The Acolyte, you're a troll. You don't want to be associated with trolls because they're dumb. They're so dumb that they're review bombing the wrong thing. Okay? And the only evidence we have of that is right here where it says the film's audience score has suddenly dropped from 42% to 33%. Folks, let me show you something about this. This is Rotten Tomatoes Acolytes, the 2008 thing that's being talked about. Currently, it's at 33%. So it hasn't moved. So it suddenly magically stopped when this article came out. Also, so that means the campaign stopped the moment that was published. Also, this only has 500 ratings. The only way that you would know if this score dropped is if for some bizarre reason you sat and watched a film from 2008, its Rotten Tomatoes score with, at the time, what would have had to have been like 400 total ratings, and watch that number change. There's no other way to track that change unless you preemptively know to watch for it. Let me show you this. It turns out that if you click on the reviews, what would you normally see if something was being review bombed?
Current
you would
reviews?
see the same, you would see similar reviews with 1 stars. This hasn't had a written review since 2018. It really hasn't had many since 2013, 2012, and it doesn't have many at all. Jonas, what I think has happened here, although I could be wrong, is that I think somebody needed a story to make the fans look stupid. And so, because this film did not take many reviews to tank its audience score, because it's been dormant for 10 years, somebody had it tanked, and then a story was written. Jonas, you see any other way that this could have actually happened?
The Acolytes, or whatever the name of the previous series, which could be the sequel to the Acolyte, you know, if they really want to double down on this. Why would they have any tracking on Acolytes at all? And who pays attention to critic scores on an independent project or something that is not a major, you know, wide release?
It seems, Jonas, am I wrong? They would have had to have known to watch for this,
right?
They literally. So who's actually watching for that? That makes you have to say Occam's razor, and Occam's razor tells me somebody did this and wrote a story about it, and then tried to. It's a. In my opinion, folks,
somebody with large enough resources to actually track something like this,
but not enough resources to tank a legitimate movie, just one that had like 400 total audience reviews back from 2008. A teeny tiny itsy bitsy film that somebody said, "Hey, I bet we can do this." Now that's just my opinion, but if you can poke a hole in it, Jonas, go for it, because I don't see any other way that this happened other than there was a story that needed to be made to slime Star Wars fans, and now this will be used by other sites. They will cite this to mock the fans, but I'm looking at it and realizing I think you're caught. What do you think, Jonas?
I think you're 100% correct. There's also the fact that even if they're review bombing the wrong project because they don't care about this show, they've just seen the name Acolyte and they hate it, and they've presumably watched it or heard about it and decide they don't want to have anything to do with it. Okay, so they reviewed the wrong film. It doesn't mean that the reviews are any more legitimate or less legitimate if they land on the wrong item. This also indicates to me that 14% that the Acolyte is currently rated on the audience side, that means that it's not actually low enough, because there's a large number of ratings that have been aimed at the wrong production here. So the idea that, okay, so we have a lot of debates on this channel, or discussions.
Let me just say this, Jonas, as you get ready to add this movie, this indie film from 2008 had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total critic reviews. It had a minuscule number of audience reviews. Nobody, not a single person, has left a written review regarding the Acolyte on this. Not a single solitary one.
If I can also point it out that one of the positive reviews, the only words that were on there were maddeningly uneven. It doesn't sound like a positive review to me, but to each his own. the thing that I'm trying to say here is that the audience score on The Acolyte, it sounds like it should be lower, or they're just trying to paint this narrative. And when we have these discussions on the channel, we tend not to go here, but trying to say that the other side is stupid is the worst argument that you can make. It's the lowest form of the argument. I'm not saying it's inaccurate, but when you say that the other side is stupid, you are denying all of the intellectualism of the argument. This is where I prefer to be, to say these are the reasons this is not good. The fact that the plot is almost nonsensical and difficult to follow. The fact that it is Star Wars in name only, or that it has no good and evil. In fact, I pointed this out on that Park Place. The good versus evil narrative that they're trying to paint here for the review bombing of The Acolyte has a clearer to follow plot line and a more engaging plot line than the series itself.
But let's review again, Jonas. They have no proof of the review bombing, but now they allegedly have proof because this show, The Acolytes, or this movie, is being supposedly review bombed. But the only way that they could possibly know that it's being review bombed is if they already were watching this movie's score that nobody has ever heard of and nobody ever paid attention to. And then all of a sudden they saw that happen. But there's no evidence in the comments of it happening. It's like the perfect storm to create a false narrative about
Agreed.
a fan base so that they can drive this story for a few more weeks with all their little buddies. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, they are in search of villains. They don't have any villains, so they're looking for villains.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end yet again of another video of excellence right here on the Pro Channel. We surely do hope you enjoyed it. And folks, we would enjoy one small, simple favor from you, and that is consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment right on down below and let us know your thoughts about this latest story from The Independent. And folks, independently of what we do here, we also run a radio station you might like. The all original, all owned by us content over there. Every genre you can imagine. Check us out at Vacation Radio. And for more news about everything that should be fun, check out That Park Place and thatparkplace.com. Folks, we'll see you real soon. In the meantime, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.